It's time for the LECOMTE Stakes at the fairgrounds and what many consider to be the kickoff of the Kentucky Derby preps for this year's 150th running of the Kentucky Derby. Let's take a look at this 13 race card and see if we can find some vertical value and bet some exactas and trifectas.
Trust the Profits is proud to be sponsored by Game of Silks. Go to silks.io to get in the game. Real ownership, real races, real rewards.
Hello and welcome in. My name's Tim, and you can find me on X, the formerly known as Twitter, at the handle @RidersUpTim. This is a show, Vertical Value, where I take a look at race cards over the weekend and see if we can find a few races to where we can potentially get a little bit of value and some strong opinions on some possible exactas and trifectas to bet. So with that being said, let's jump right in. For the first race that I'm going to take a look at here, I'm going to go to race 2. This is a $60,000 maiden special weight for 3-year-old Louisiana bred maidens at 6 furlongs on the dirt. The first horse I'm going to take a look at, my top pick in here is the number 10, the number 12, Son of a Ship. This horse has 3 seconds and a third in his 5 dirt races. In addition to that, he's been the beaten favorite in 4 of his last 7 starts, but he's coming third start off the layoff here as a potential lone speed in only a second try at 6 furlongs. He gets Saez up for Mike Maker, and I really like this horse as a value play here in the second race. The number 10, Wish Carefully, is most likely going to be your post-time favorite in this race, but with a full field, I really think that Wish Carefully is a valid favorite in the race, but potentially lukewarm on the tote board. And that's what we like to see. That'll give us a little bit of value here. So if we can get the money spread a little bit, and especially spread in the exacta pool, I think we have the potential to get a little bit of value with a 10 and 12 possible exacta here. In addition to those two, when I'm looking at maiden races, I always like to take a look at all of your first-time starters if you don't have any world beaters, and I don't think we've got one of those in here. So I went to the number 5, Benji Star. This horse has been working well. The dam of this horse only has one other foal to this point, and that one finished third in its first start, but did win at third asking at Gulfstream Park. The sire of this horse is Upstart and has 15% win rate with first-time starters, but 29% of those get in the money. And I like the potential of Benji Star to maybe in the first start with that high rate of in the money finishes, possibly get underneath in the exotic. So my play in race 2 here is I'm going to play an exacta, boxing basically the 10 and the 12 with adding the 5 as a possible horse to finish underneath. So that'll be an exacta 10-12 with 5, 10, and 12. For my next play, I'm going to go to race 5. This is another maiden special weight for $60,000 for 3-year-old maidens at 1 mile and a 16th on the dirt. The race draws a field of 10, and I'm going to go to the number 6 here, Funny Flame. This colt has 2 races at fairgrounds, both at this distance, and both of those resulted in second place finishes. I like the speed figures in here. They've improved in each of his 4 starts, and he does have not only the highest last race speed figure, but that's the highest speed figure in the entire field. They're putting blinkers on here, and I think trying to get a little more focus and maybe break that streak of second place finishes with a win. When you look at the 4 in here, Hall of Fame, a second-time starter for Steve Asmussen, this horse is clearly going to be the favorite. It's a $1.4 million colt by Gunrunner out of an unraced Giants Causeway mare. Making only a second start. He's been off since he debuted at Churchill back on the 26th of November. Finished a second in that one, beaten 2 lengths. But he was closing up pretty well on in a 7 furlong race, and I think that This race increasing in distance, spreading out, going 2 turns at a mile and a 16th is going to be something that this horse is going to relish. Um, I do think that there is the potential that that this horse just be much the best and go off and win. But with the long layoff, I'm going to box these horses. So I think these two horses are both clearly better than everyone else in the field. So I'm just going to play an exacta box with 4 and 6 and hope that we can get that 6 horse on top. With my next play here, I'm going to go to race 10. Race 10 is the $150,000 silver bullet day for 3-year-old fillies at a mile and 70 yards on the dirt. And in this race, I'm going to the number 3, Miss Code West. Miss Code West is unbeaten in 4 starts, and I understand that this Remington Park shipper has been going against Louisiana breds for all 4 of those races, and this is a big step up in going against other horses other than Louisiana breds. But that stakes race in the last, I watched this race several times, and Miss Code West was out on the lead in that race. The 2nd and 5th place finishers in that race were Steve Asmussen trainees. And Texas Women for the Arts was a horse that they thought enough of that Tyler Gaffleone actually flew in that day to ride this horse. And the horse was basically got the dream trip, sat just off of the Miss Code West for most of the trip and tipped out just as they were entering the stretch. Had the dream opportunity to slingshot around Miss Code West and go right by for the win, but just couldn't catch her. She actually increased her lead, and as much as Tyler was pushing his horse, they could not get Texas Women for the Arts up. So Miss Code West won in that race by 6 3/4 lengths. And if you watch that race, they were completely geared down before the wire. So I don't think the extra 70 yards is going to be much of an issue in here. The bullet work back on 7th of January tells me that the horse is still in shape and ready to go. That Bullet was 4/5 of a second faster than anybody else running that day, and quite a bit faster than the vast majority of horses that worked on that day. So I really like this horse's chances in here. Looking at the 6, West Omaha. West Omaha comes off of a pair of 81 Beyer speed figures, which is tops in the field. Just missed in last out at this distance on the fairground track. She did try to rate in that first attempt at 2 turns after she had wired the field in breaking her maiden at 7 furlongs. Cox is going to get Saez up aboard on this horse, and I think the horse is going to be a deserving favorite, but Miss Code West just impresses me, and I think we can beat West Omaha in here. Looking at the number 8, Sistina Chapel, is the most experienced at the distance in here, has a win place in a show and 3 tries at the distance, is likely going to be coming off the pace, but I expect her to not have enough to get to the top runners in here. There is a potential of a speed battle up front, and if that happens, then Sistina Chapel may be the likely beneficiary, but I think it's much more of an underneath play than an on-top play for this horse, if anything. But I'm going to play a straight exacta in here. I like the Miss Code West that much. I'm going to play a 3 with the 6 and the 8 in an exacta. And looking at the rest of the field, I'm not impressed. I'm going to take these 3 horses and also play them in a trifecta key, putting the 3 on top, keying over the 6 and the 8. My next play in here is going to come in race 11. This is the Colonel E.R. Bradley Stakes. It's a $100,000 race for 4-year-olds and up on the turf at a distance of 1 mile and a 16th. And in here, I'm going to go to the number 8, Rising Empire. He's coming off a distance ninth place finish against several of these, and that may scare many people off of the horse, but this is going to be his 3rd start off the layoff. He's only had 2 tries at the distance, 1 second place finish. Has 2 wins in 2 places and 7 tries on the turf. I'm going to toss the last race and just call it an anomaly. When I look back at previous form of this horse on the turf at fairgrounds, this horse has dropped buyers of both 95 and 100. Gets Saez up for Brendan Walsh. This is not a pair who hooks up often. I like this combination, and I think Rising Empire deserves some serious consideration in here. Strong Quality, number 2, is a horse that hasn't been on grass since racing at Kentucky Downs in August of last year. But if you look back at the past performances, you can see that this horse was out in front in the Grade 1 Arlington Million and also raced in the Grade 1 Manhattan before that, before fading in both of those races late. But those races were both at 1.25 miles. And I think this horse is definitely going to like the cut back to 1 1/16. Gets Florent Geroux up for Mark Casse. Those two, again, don't hook up very often, but when they do, they're firing at about 25% right now. I think Strong Quality in this race is going to hold on for a spot in the exacta. This horse is most likely going to go out to the lead, and I think will be pressed by Brigadier General in here. Brigadier General is kind of a wild card with not having a race on the turf. I think they might have been hoping that this race potentially comes off the turf. I don't see that happening this weekend. So while Brigadier General might show some early speed, unproven on turf and not anything that I can play, but one of the reasons that I kind of like Rising Empire on top here is getting Strong Quality and wearing that horse down a little bit. I think Rising Empire has a real chance in here. Looking at a couple of other potential underneath plays here, the 6 Who Took the Money is 5 for 5 in the money at fairgrounds, 5 of 6 on turf, and 3 out of 4 in the money at the distance. Coming off 2 straight second place finishes, the horse is going to be closing late and gets Deshaun Parker. And this is just a hard-working horse that always seems to be there. And I think the horse can definitely get a piece underneath at a bit of a price. Currently, morning line odds of 8 to 1. Another horse in here that I think you have to include in some way, I'm going to include underneath, is the 9 Beatbox. Beatbox is 4 out of 5 in the money on turf. Is most likely, is currently set as the morning line favorite. Whether or not the 9 or the 2 go off as the favorite is yet to be seen, but is definitely going to be low odds here. Had a 3rd place in 2 seconds. It's returning from a 6-month layoff. Trained by Cherie DeVoe, is going to be ridden by Joel Rosario. So most likely coming from off the pace. Came from well off the pace in the most recent race. I think can definitely get apart, but I don't think that the speed is going to fall apart in a way to where this horse is going to get up. I think the horse is definitely a candidate for a spot in the exotics, but I'm going to play Beatbox underneath. So my play for this race is going to be an exacta box with the 2 and the 8. And then I'm going to play a trifecta 2-8 with 2-8 with the 6 and 9 underneath for the try. So there you have it. Those are a few horses that I think can provide a little bit of value in some exotic plays and some exactas and trifectas on what is shaping up to be an incredible 13 races on the LECOMTE Stakes day at Fairgrounds this Saturday. Hopefully I've given you some insight into something that can help you maybe set your picks and find a little bit of vertical value for you. If you find any value at all with this video, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the Trust the Profits channel. If you haven't checked out some of the other videos, take a look. We've got this LECOMTE Day card covered from top to bottom in a wide variety of ways. So take a look at that. And again, I wish you all the luck in your wagers and hope you find some vertical value on the LECOMTE Day.